Good morning, everyone. See that little symbol there? That little symbol is at the very, very, very beginning, right, nestled in the title itself of the ritual we're going to discuss today, the Liber V, Vel Reguli, by Aleister Crowley. And I posted this image on my site this morning. All you have to do is scroll down to see that. To tell you the truth, it's a really a cleaned up version of my own notes on the subject, as if you could follow that around. You see Iwas is those three chakra areas, and it's the halo around the head is Nuit, and Hadith's right there in the groin area, or Malkuth, and Rahu Kuit's right. Well, anyway, it does look a lot cleaner on this thing right here, and as we follow along today, keep this in mind, and if you replay our little thing, or you reread the chapter yourself, which I hope you will do, you can use that diagram as a visual aid. So we are discussing Liber V, Vel Reguli. It's an official AA ritual or publication in Class D. Being the ritual of the Mark of the Beast, an incantation proper to invoke the energies of the Aeon of Horus, adapted for daily use by the magician of any grade. So don't wait till you think you have to join something to start to work with this ritual meditation. First gesture. Now remember, in the pentagram ritual we had the Kabbalistic cross, and it really it announced to the magical world that, hey, I'm a little tree of life myself. Hey, look, magic world, I'm a tree of life myself. Ata, Malkuth, Vigibura, Vigudula. So I'm all three of those pillars. And as we discussed yesterday, Liber Reguli also works with the horizontal paths on the tree of life that join 4 and 5, and 7 and 8, and 2 and 3. First gesture is called the Oath of the Enchantment, which is called the 11-fold seal. Now 11 is a big magic number, everyone, okay? So we're going to be working with a total of 11 landmark names. You can count them as we go along. And then it says, the animadversion toward the Aeon, and he puts that little symbol there. Now, an animadversion is a curious word that over the years has been taken to often mean a criticism or a critique, is drawing your attention to negative things. But it really just means drawing your attention to, or turning the mind toward. So it's turning the mind toward the Aeon. Let the magician, robed and armed as he may deem to be fit, turn his face toward Boleskine. Okay, Boleskine is that house in Scotland that Crowley owned, and it was sort of like a Qibla, or a Kaaba, excuse me. a holy place. It's the Thelemites east. So, and if you're lucky enough to live approximately where I do, it is pretty much east to me, little northeast. And if I could find perhaps even the, before we get too far, I've got the coordinates for you here. See, Boleskine 32. It's near Inverness, Scotland. 17 miles from Inverness. It's latitude 57 degrees 14 minutes north. Longitude is 4 degrees 28 minutes west. So the reason I'm saying that is because when we're working with the circle here, we will be working with regular directions, east, west, north, and south, like that. Okay. And for this circle, we'll be moving widdershins, or against the counterclockwise. But we're also keeping in mind which direction is Boleskine. Now, I've got it set up here as if Boleskine is due east. But say you live in a part of the world where Boleskine is somewhere else, then you would keep in mind that it's somewhere else around this circle. Because as you move around the circle, you're going to be making the sign of the enter. That sign of the enter as you pass by Boleskine, as if to suck energy, draw in the force from that area. So when we talk about the magician moving about the circle there, keep in mind that every time the magician passes where Boleskine is in the circle, the magician makes that sign. It's a technique used by the Golden Dawn in all their circumambulations around the temple. It's no big crazy Crowley thing. This is standard operating procedure to whip up energy in a circle. So I'm going to start over again. Let the magician be robed and armed as he may deem to be fit. Turn his face toward Boleskine, that is the house of the beast 666. Let him strike the battery. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's 11. Okay. That's 11. That's a knock of 11. It's got 1 on one side at the beginning and 1 on the other side, and 3 threes sandwiched in between. Let him put the thumb of his right hand between the index and medius and make the gestures hereafter following. And these gestures are called the vertical component of the enchantment. Let him describe around his head. Now, you can, a circle. Okay. That's that little thing right there, that circle. Okay. Now, if you feel like around your head is a circle like that, I don't see why you couldn't do that too. But it says, thumb of the right hand between the index of the medius and make the gestures here following. Let him describe a circle about his head, crying nuit. Let him draw the thumb vertically downward and touch the root of his phallus, crying hadith. Let him retrace the line and touch the center of his breast and cry rahur kuit. That's the vertical component of the enchantment. Nuit, or nuit, hadith, rahur kuit. Nuit, Hadit, Rahur Kuit. Let him touch the center of his forehead, his mouth, and his larynx, crying, Aiwas. Let him draw the thumb from right to left across his face at the level of the nostrils. Touch their forehead, mouth, larynx, and cry, Aiwas, and draw that line. Let him touch the center of his breast and his solar plexus, crying, Therion. Let him draw the thumb from left to right across his breast at the level of the sternum. There we go. Heart, solar plexus, draw that line there. Crying Therion. Let him draw his thumb from right to left across the breast. Okay. Let him touch the navel and the root chakra, crying Babylon. Babylon. Then draw, this time from right to left across the abdomen area at the hips. See how you've created the 3 horizontal lines that way. Thus shalt thou formulate the sigil of the Grand Hierophant, but dependent from the circles. So if we wipe our circle out of there, that is the cross of the Grand Hierophant, right there. It's as easy as that. It really is easy. Next part is the assertion of the spells, and assertion is a solemn declaration. Let the magician clasp his hands upon his wand, his fingers and thumbs interlaced, crying, Lashtal, Thelema, Vialv, Agape, Aum. Those are 5. 5 words, and the 6 words that we used at the beginning, there's our 11. That makes the 11-fold enchantment. Now we're going to talk about those magic words in just a little while, probably tomorrow. So the proclamation of the accomplishment. Let the magician strike the battery another 11 times, but this time 3, 5, 3. And say, Abrahadabra. And remember, Abrahadabra is that union of the 5 and the 6. We said the 6 names at the beginning in our horizontal component. And we repeated the 5 words at the magic words of Thelema at the end. The 6 and the 5 together, Abrahadabra. That's the word that means union of the 5 and 6. That's just to kick things off. Now, if you're a magician, I'm digressing. If you're a magician and have other magical things to do, just this section right here makes a wonderful component for you to open up whatever ritual that you would like to follow this. If you're a Thelemite and you resonate to the how this attunes you to the Thelemic current, if you choose to call it that, then before you do any kind of magical ceremony, you replace that with say, the Kabbalistic cross, which you may not identify with anymore with its what might be considered old Aeon god names and things like that. So view every one of these sections as something that could be modularly used in your own work, in your own customized magical ceremonies. The second gesture, it's called the enchantment. Let the magician, still facing Boleskine, advance to the circumference of his circle. Let him turn himself toward the left and pace with the stealth and the swiftness of a tiger the precincts of his circle until he completes one revolution thereof. Now that one revolution is from Boleskine to Boleskine. Let him give the sign of Horus or of the Enter as he passeth, so to project the force that radiateth from Boleskine before him. Let him pace his path until he comes to the north, and that's the real north this time. There let him halt and turn his face to the north. Let him trace with his wand the A-verse pentagram proper to invoke air or Aquarius. Let him bring his wand to the center of the pentagram and call upon Nuith or Nuith. Let him make the sign called Puella, we discussed these yesterday, standing with the feet together, head bowed, left hand shielding his phallus, and his right hand shielding his breast. It's the attitude of Venus de Medici, or Venus on the half shell. Let me digress for a moment here. When it says phallus here, we're talking about the area on the human body, male or female, that is that particular chakra. And when Crowley says phallus, you have to remember and always keep in mind that this is not being exclusively something that can be done by someone who is a man or identifies as a man or has the male sexual organs that are identified as the phallus. We are all just a tiny bit more male than female. The phallus is a universal phallus. The sun out there is not the moon, and the moon out there is not the sun. Okay, the identity with the phallus may appear on the surface to be, oh, this is a man's thing here. No, it's a human being thing. Okay, well, anyway. So let him turn again to the left and pursue his path as before, projecting the force from Boleskine. In other words, make that projecting Horus sign as you pass Boleskine. But then let him halt when next he cometh to the south. So make whatever you have to do to pass Boleskine house, to make that sign, go ahead and do that and then continue on until next you come to the south. Let him trace the A-verse pentagram that invoketh fire, or Leo. Let him point his wand to the center of the pentagram and cry Hadith. Then let him give the sign of Puer, standing with the feet together, head erect. Let his right hand, the thumb between the index and medius, be raised, the forearm vertical with the right angle with the upper arm, which is horizontally extended in a line joining the shoulders. Let his left hand, the thumb extended forwards, and the fingers clenched rest at the junction of the thighs, the attitude of the gods of Mentu and Kem. Now remember, we've got beautiful drawings of, or photographs of Constance making all these signs just a few pages back here. Let him proceed as before. Then in the east, let him make the averse pentagram invoking Taurus. Now, if you think this is a curious way to put things, no, these are the same directions as you'd find on, say, the Wheel of Fortune tarot card, but we would put, it would be like this. If you'd imagine the Wheel of Fortune tarot card, there we got Leo the lion on the lower right. We've got Taurus the bull there. Everything's in the right spot. The angel up here in the north. Okay. It just is. It's not too weird. Okay, let him proceed as before. Then in the east, let him make the averse pentagram that invokes Taurus. Let him point his wand to the center of the pentagram and cry, Therion! Let him give the sign of Vir, the feet being together, the hands with the clenched fingers and thumbs thrust out forward, are held to the temple. The head is then bowed and pushed out as if to symbolize the butting of a horned beast, the attitude of Pan or Bacchus. Then proceed as before to the west. The averse pentagram, you draw the averse pentagram whereby water is invoked. Point the wand to the center of the pentagram and let him call upon Babylon. Let him give the sign of Mulir. The feet are widely separated and the arms raised as to suggest a crescent. The head is thrown back, the attitude of Baphomet, Isis in welcome, the microcosm of Vitruvius. Okay. Now it gets kind of crazy, but fun. Let him break into a dance, tracing centripetal, moving inward, centripetal spiral widdershins, enriched by revolutions upon his axis as he passeth each quarter, until he comes to the center of the circle. Isn't that cool? Then let him face Bullskine House. Let him raise the wand and trace the mark of the beast. And I showed you the mark of the beast yesterday, the sun and moon conjoined. And cry, Aiwas! Then let him trace the invoking hexagram of the beast. I take that to mean the unicursal hexagram starting at the upper point, moving down to the lower right and finishing it off. Let him lower the wand and strike the earth therewith. Let him give the sign of mater triumphans. That's just like Isis nursing little baby Horus. Okay, you've got your arm cradled and your hand sort of on your right hand on your left breast. The feet together, left arm curved as if it supported a child. The thumb and index of the right hand pinch the nipple of the left breast as offering it to the child. Let him utter the word Thelema. Let him perform the spiral dance, moving diacal. Okay, now you move diacal. But at each point, you whirl widdershins. Moving diacal, but whirling widdershins. Okay. Each time on passing the west, extend the wand to the quarter in question and bow. Before me the powers of law to the west. Behind me the powers of all to the east. On my right hand the powers of law to the north. On my left hand the powers of all to the south. Above me the powers of sht, that's spelled S or sheen, S-H, small h, T, sht. You say that as you leap in the air. Beneath me the powers of sht, striking the ground. Within me the powers, and then you give the attitude of ta erect. That's the feet together, the hands clasped vertically upon the wand. About me flames my Father's face, the star of force and fire, and in the column stands his six-rayed splendor. Now Crowley has a parenthetical note that I took great rejoicing when I read it. It says, "This dance may be omitted," and the whole utterance chanted in the attitude of ta. But I tell you, if you've got a big enough temple space and you are light on your feet, this would just be absolutely a kick to do it like that. And I've seen very few magicians do it well. But once in East Chicago, I saw Tiger Leahu do this absolutely magnificently, and I can't. The room just almost caught fire. It was so good. But anyway, that's the ritual itself. There's a final gesture, and the final gesture is just exactly like the first one. It's the admaversion toward the aeon. So it's the battery of 6, or the battery of 11, and then Nuit, Hadit, Rahur, Kuit, and then all of that, just like we did at first. So tomorrow, starting tomorrow, if I'm in any shape after tonight's Zoom workshop, here are impressions of the ideas implied in the pine, or it's like a holy poem, it's referred to. And here we get to talk about Lashtal and Thelema and things like that. And then that will close out our comments, at least in this book, about the Thelemic pentagram rituals. Now, just like we did the pentagram rituals, we talked a little bit about the traditional pentagram rituals to kind of show how Crowley's Thelemic pentagram rituals were a tweaking of the traditional formula. Well, now we're going to move on, or tomorrow we're going to move on to the hexagram ritual, or later in the week anyway. The Thelemic hexagram rituals, the star sapphire, just a gorgeous thing. But we're going to have to talk a little bit about the traditional hexagram rituals to set the stage, so to speak, for that. So that's what we'll pick up probably on Friday. So once again, we've gone too long. But anyway, I hope you've registered for tonight's thing if you intend to register. We've got a packed house, okay? When I turn this off, if I see somebody else has registered, I'll have time to quickly put you through. But don't worry if you don't make it into the registration for today, because in a few days we'll show you how to register to see the tape of it, the video of it. So until tomorrow, wish me luck. Continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love's the law, love under will. Abrahadabra.